Hi everyone, it's Coach Che Marville from Wise Mindly, and welcome to Let's Talk. Should I get so excited? I get very excited when I say welcome to Let's Talk. My friends, listen, I am so glad that we've returned and that you have returned to me and that we are creating this space together to cultivate great conversations and good listening. I'm introducing a number of new programs through the Wise Mindly Academy. One of them is a yoga and meditation certification program, and that's all about, well, it's about learning about our mind. It's about learning to live in our beautiful bodies. It's about getting strong. It's about nutrition. It's about paying attention to your mental health and your well being. And you can do all of it with yoga. I know it sounds like a huge, like I'm giving you a big sales pitch, but I'm genuinely actually giving you a sales pitch because I think yoga and mindfulness it's been one of the greatest gifts and blessings that I've ever received in my life. And learning to be a teacher so many years ago, so many decades ago, has been a privilege or was a privilege. And I remember a phenomenal yoga teacher saying to me that it was going to take me and not just me, but anyone who wants to teach the tradition or teach within the tradition of yoga and meditation, it takes years and years and years to become an effective teacher. And I think that is true. I didn't believe it when she told me 20 plus years ago, but I believe that to be true because I think it's not just about experiencing and teaching many bodies and many minds, but it is about also living as a human being. In the yogic tradition, they have something called a householder. And when you're a householder, you're usually in the time of your life where you're raising a family and you're looking after your home and you don't have as much time for your own training of your own mind. And I remember this teacher used to say, at this point of your life, you're a householder and you really need to be in a place where you can really dedicate time to fully living as yourself, but also living through all of your failures and your obstacles and the things that have almost broken you so that you can understand the value. That's Finn. The value, Finn's my dog, for those of you who don't know. That's not me deep breathing. It takes time to get through these obstacles and survive them and then understand where to apply yoga and meditation and mindfulness to cultivating your spiritual life and to cultivating your spiritual well-being. And so I now feel like I'm at a place where I can guide teachers in a different way. And one of those ways is just actually about learning to just love yourself so deeply. The best teachers I've ever had in anything are people who like themselves. I don't mean like they're egotistical. I mean that they genuinely are people who enjoy their own company and they're not they're not angry at themselves, because when you have teachers who are really angry at themselves or who are unhappy, they can be terrible teachers to learn from, because what they convey to you is the hurt and the pain and why you aren't good enough. I had a yoga teacher like that once, and I remember we would, all of us students, we would talk about how strange it was that you could have this teacher who was teaching about being mindful and looking after yourself, but then really hating herself. And and then always having negative things to say to her student teachers. It was always so strange. But I mean, yoga, meditation, it's going to attract all the same kinds of people that are attracted to every other discipline in the world. We're all people who are in the process of becoming. And speaking of becoming, there's something I'd really like to share with all of you. So most of you know my name is Che. Che is spelled C-H-E. And people often call me Che and she, or people are always mispronouncing Che. But the truth is that I always have had two names. Well, I have three names. My middle name is Anne. But my first name, actually, my actual first name that no one can ever pronounce is Shannara. And when I was a kid, my parents gave me a choice. They said, on your birth certificate, you have, three names. Shannara, Che for short, and Marville. But you can choose which one of those names you want to use. You can use Shannara or you can use Che. And I just found that people butchered both of my names, but Shannara they could never get right. But my family members always call me Shannara. And my mom calls me Shannara. And I have an aunt who I'm actually going to interview on the show because she was a broadcaster in Guyana and she has an incredible story. But she always calls me Shannare. And I love the way she pronounces my name. And I think, even when people say my name incorrectly, I mean, unless they get it really wrong, I no longer hate that. I have a friend who said to me the other day, she said, we were out and someone said my, full name, and they said, because I always write my signature with my full name. And she said, that person just said your name so incorrectly. It was terrible. And you didn't say anything. You didn't correct them. Like, don't you think you should correct them? Like, what do you think? I'm not really fussed about people saying my name incorrectly because I say people's names incorrectly, and it's gotten worse as I've gotten older, which is really weird and worrisome. But I guess I just want you to know, yes, my name is Che, but my full name, my real name is Shannara. And I've never been ashamed of that name. I just didn't think people could pronounce it, and so I didn't use it as much. But anytime I sign my name, I use the whole word, Shannara. And I've been thinking a lot about, keeping it real and being real in how you are emotionally with people and what you share of yourself and how much we share of ourselves. And I guess I'm at an age, 53. I like my age. I like being alive. I love being a woman. And I love the name that my parents gave me. And maybe, maybe the name has become more important because my parents are no longer living, and there's so little of them left, that you try to capture and remember what you had with them. And one of the things I'm grateful for to my parents was the fact that they gave me a name that I love. And it's a name that has so much meaning to me. And I think that, names are so powerful, but it's not about someone else saying the name correctly. I think it's just about what does my name mean to me? And I guess I'm asking you, what does your name mean to you? I have another friend who never loved her name. And so when she was 18, she had her name legally changed. And it wasn't because she hated her parents or anything like that. It was the fact that for 18 years she lived with a name that she thought did not represent who she was. And so she changed it. And I've always felt like I am Che and I am Shanera. And I think having two names has been really interesting because your name, depending on what your name is, it dictates how people treat you, right? It dictates how people treat you and how they perceive you. And sometimes people, when I was younger and we didn't have the internet in the world, and people would just see my name on paper, they would always think I was a boy. And so it was always surprising when with my name Che, people always thought I was male. And with my name Shanera, people always think I'm female. And I've always thought that was really interesting. Because what's the difference? The difference is the perception of the person who's reading your name. Isn't that interesting? Like, I'm the same person, but what you think about me is different because one name conveys a male person from your experience, and the other name conveys a female experience or a female person based on your experience. I just think that is so fascinating. I think it's also fascinating becoming an older woman. Something happened a few years ago where I found that in public people will say ma'am, and they never used to say ma'am. Or another one that I'm not sure how I feel about this one. And maybe the fact that I'm saying I'm not sure how I feel about it means that I don't like it. When younger people who are strangers call me auntie or auntie. Like, I have nieces and nephews, and they're all really fascinating people. And even to them, I say, call me Che. But when strangers call you auntie, I don't know. Like, I mean, is it about respect or is it about saying you're old? And I know it's about respect. I used to call lots of people aunties. But I remember I have an aunt who's 25 years older than me. And when I got to about 30, we were out and I called her auntie. And she said to me, don't call me auntie. And I said, why? And she said, because we're both adults. We're practically the same age. And I said, well, don't you think it's about, honoring you? And she is actually my aunt. She's related to me. And she said, no, you honor me in how you treat me. You don't have to call me auntie. So how do you feel about it? I guess I'm telling you I don't want to be called auntie. I don't want to be called auntie. I don't know. I don't want to be called auntie. I don't think I like it. I feel like it's I don't want to. What do you think? These are the types of things we're going to talk about on Let's Talk. We're going to talk about yoga and meditation and create space for interesting stories. I talked to so many interesting people this week. I'm really obsessed with women and women who are creating new things and who are older doing it. Because I've noticed, and again, it's always about your own experience. I've noticed that on television and in magazines and in the public space, you don't see women who are over 50 very much anymore. I mean, a little bit, but not in comparison to how many people you see in their 30s and 20s. And I don't mind seeing people in their 20s and 30s and 40s, and I think that's fantastic. But hey, like, what about the rest of us? Like, what about us, like those of us who are in our 50s and our 60s and our 70s and our 80s? Like, why exactly do you want us to disappear? And, here's my song, and I say it over and over again, which is, everyone wants to get older, but also wants to stay young. And the world seems to want us to stay alive, but not look like we're older. And there's supposed to be a lot of shame, I think, about getting older, which again is also really strange. I loved every age that I was at, and I love my age now, and I want to live for a really long time and be very healthy doing it. And I don't want to be invisible, and I don't want other people to make me invisible, and I don't want to be called ma'am or auntie or auntie if I'm not your aunt. And even if I am your aunt, I don't really want to be called aunt, because I don't feel old. And then you might say, well, someone else would say, well, what's wrong with being older? Well, I think there's the definition of, like, I think the word is wrong. I don't know what it is about old. I just feel like it's not the truth. I feel like you're aging, if you're healthy and you're lucky, you get older. And I think that's a great thing. But you're not less because you're older. You're more. You've done more. You have had more experiences, and most likely you are more interesting and smarter just because you've lived longer. And I don't know why that's a bad thing. I think it's weird. I think it's weird that people think getting older is not a good thing, and that we are supposed to be ashamed. And I've worked, I've had the privilege of working with a lot of older people. For about a decade, I worked in retirement. And I worked with older people before that also, what I call older people, because I was very young then. And the thing that was so fascinating about people who are in their 80s and 90s is that for many of them, they don't think they're old. They think you think they're old, but they think they're the same person that they were when they were 35. And that's really interesting. And for the people who really were active and engaged and had social relationships and were going for dinner and liked food and were playing tennis or golf and exercising and dancing, having joy, they were really ageless. And so I love that. I remember meeting this woman. She used to come to my meditation classes, and she was coming to meditation for 6 months, and she's 99, in really good shape, a little bit of osteoporosis. And she suffered a lot in her life. She had a very tough life, and as a result had experienced a lot of anxiety. And one day she takes me aside and she says, I really need to talk to you. It's really important. And there are tears in her eyes. And so I'm thinking that she has some bad news to share. So we go into the office and close the door. She sits down. She gets really silent. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what is she going to tell me? And she says, I want to thank you. And I said, for what? She said, I'm 99 and I'm learning something new about myself in meditation. She said, I didn't even know I could change my breath. I haven't felt anxious in months. And then we both sat there crying. Like this, I was crying because this 99-year-old woman who is brilliant and smart and beautiful and lived through very traumatic things sits down with me and gives me the most generous gift of thank you and tells me that she's learning something new from me. And I think here's the thing. We keep acting as though you can get to a certain age and then you stop. You just stop living. When it's the opposite, you just live as much as you can for as long as you can. And you keep learning, and you keep loving, and you keep liking, and you keep being attracted to people, and you keep being drawn to people, and you keep being, feeling sad, and you feel anxious, and you're still human. You're still human. Anyways, I can tell you exactly what she was wearing and what I was wearing. It was one of the greatest gifts. It wasn't about, for me, what was the gift? The gift was this woman who was like almost 60 years or something older than me, 66 years older than me at that point, saying that she was interested in life, that she was still learning, and that she was excited about that, and she was emotional about that. And it struck me at that moment that we just stop seeing people when they hit a certain age. And that I never wanted to do that. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to stop seeing who people are because they're older than me, because they're 40 years older, 50 years older, or 10 years older. And I don't want to think people are not relevant because they're younger. I just want to see people as people. And I want people to see me as a person and not make me invisible. And I'm excited about midlife because I feel like it's also this period of time, for the first time in our human history, where midlife people have a chance to reinvent and recreate and remake their lives in ways that they've never had before. But what is required is that you release yourself from the narrative of what it is to get older, and that you embrace a new narrative of you can be whatever age you are and move and groove and live and reinvent yourself and reimagine your life. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. Because we have this extraordinary biological computer in us that helps us to visualize and write new stories and speak new stories. And if we're healthy, we can keep doing that. And so that's what we should do. I think everybody should do that. If you're alive, just live. And don't compare, and don't put yourself in a category, because other people will. Just invent and make and walk and lift weights and eat great food if you have great food around you, and find people you love. And it's better to find and spend time with one person that you like and you love and they love you back than to have a billion followers who don't know you and can change their mind about you, at the drop of a dime. And wherever you guys are, like whatever you're doing, like just live, and also subscribe to the podcast, Let's Talk with Coach Che. and send your ideas for conversations. I want us to have fun. I want us to breathe together. I would like us to meditate together. In fact, right now, let's do it. Wherever you are, find a space to lay down or sit up. What do you want to do? Lay down or sit up? Why don't you lay down? And just release a big sigh of a... Just let it all go. This is a quick one. That doesn't sound right. But this is a quick one. You're going to lay down. You're going to feel the foundation of the ground or the mat or the bed or the couch below you. And then if you can, clench, like make a fist with your hands and your toes and tighten your entire body. Tight, 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 tight. Clear your nose by sniffing. Maybe let out a laugh. And then release the tension. Release the fist. Release the tension in your body. And then take another, take a breath in here and allow your arms to fall to the side and be wide open. Make a fist with your hands and make a fist. Tighten your face. Make a fist with your feet. Tighten your feet and tense your entire body. Pull your stomach in. Tight, 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 tight. Hold everything tightly. Pull that breath in. And now open your mouth and exhale. And let everything go. And you're going to notice that your body feels heavier. And you are at the same time melting into the foundation below you. And just now scan your body from the tips of your toes, the soles of your feet, to your knees, to your hip joints, to your belly button, to your sternum, to your shoulders, to your elbows, to your wrist, to the tips of your fingers, to your sternum again, to your throat, to your nose, to the space between your eyebrows, to the crown of your head. Just notice the body. Take a breath in here, and as you take that breath in, allow your stomach to expand. And when you can't take another breath, hold the breath here. Hold the breath here. Keep holding, keep holding. And on the count of 6, I want you to release the breath slowly. 6, 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1. And let everything go. Let everything sink. And remain here, right now, in this moment, in this space, in this stillness, in this quiet, in the universe of you, noticing the in-breath and the out-breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. And then let everything go. Let everything go. Let everything go. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Breathe deeply, quietly, wholly, gently, tenderly, into stillness, into quiet, into calm. Ciao for now.